From the great halls of their house, there are assembled three who hope to one day be the world's greatest driving heroes. Created from the cosmic legends of the universe comes our team captain, the Vision, Bill Fisher. Their soon-to-be Wonder Woman, Vicki Fisher. Our Captain Marvel and head flight trainee, Jennifer Skripchuk. And our Batman, the master of tools, gadgets, and all things mechanical, our mild-mannered soon-to-be billionaire, Alan Danvers. Their mission, to fight injustice, share what is right and wrong, to get you out of your house and come out racing with them, and serve all mankind. They are the Garage Heroes in Training Team. Dominating with Dawson.
Got one that'll get you up on a soapbox, Mr. Dawson. And you seem to be ready.
He's ready for a soapbox.
All right. You want a surprise or you want to know what it is?
Oh no, surprise me. Let's make it fun.
Very well. Welcome to Dominating with Dawson, where every week you get to see Ben Dawson. And this week you're going to get to see Ben Dawson probably jump up on a rather large soapbox. So
ooh.
Ben, you here?
I am extremely here for this, it sounds like.
I'm very curious.
Miss Vicki wants to know.
Yeah, I'm going in cold. I don't know what we're going to be talking about, but I'm excited because I love when Bill makes a prediction. I mean, this could very easily be something I've also never heard of before.
It very much could be. I mean, we had one episode I thought we were going to be done in like 6 words of yours. I don't know what it is, and we made something of it. So let's see.
Okay.
So a couple years back, maybe a couple decades back, there was this movie, right? And it came out, and it was Academy Award level movie. And it introduced me to an actress who looks like my beautiful bride, Nicole Kidman. And she was with this rather tall fellow. I believe his name is Cruising Tom or something like that.
Oh, the big man, the big guy.
The big guy, yeah.
Tall Tom.
Tall Tom, yeah, exactly. That's what they called him at high school. So it introduced me to this term that I had heard a little bit when watching NASCAR, but I believe this was the first time that it got out into the general public lexicon. And the term is Rubbin's Racing.
I don't even have a ladder tall enough.
What's it called?
Rubbin's Racing.
In that movie. Yeah, in that movie, kind of the refrain. I haven't spent a long time since I've seen it, maybe when it came out. But I mean, I remember, and the thing that kind of always gets memeified and comes out of that is the fact that didn't he come out of sprint cars or something? It was like the Jeff Gordon story, pretty much. But he came out of open wheel racing, I think, or something where in those cars you're not touching each other. If wheel to wheel, like rubber to rubber, and it's open wheel sprint cars, you're just going to go flipping. So they're careful not to touch each other. If they do, it's a big problem. There's cars cartwheeling everywhere, and it's a huge wreck. So. I think he came from a series where you didn't touch anything because it would be a big, huge rubber to metal incident and just nothing but a crash fest. Into NASCAR, where most everything is covered by metal and you rub the metal together and it's not that big a deal. That's how business is done on a NASCAR track. And largely that's how business was done in oval track karting. When we talked about that before, like we just every time you make a pass in oval racing, in my experience, you kind of give somebody a little touch just to say, hey, even if you're not mad at them, you give them a little squeeze going by on the inside. But so yeah, that was the big refrain in this movie is like, hey, Rubbin's Racing. This is how it gets done. You know, if somebody lays a bumper to you, that's just them saying, hey. And I mean, legitimately, that is my experience in oval racing. But the big reason I would get up on a soapbox to talk about that concept and how it applies to road course racing is that the expectation is completely opposite. From HPDE to time trials to even, I mean, there is some rubbing and sprint racing more than there should be, but definitely in the all of the endurance racing series we run, there's a big expectation that you're not supposed to hit anybody. You get into huge trouble and definitely Lucky Dog and in lemons if you make contact with somebody. It's a little more loosey goosey and Champ and AER. And AER's rule is kind of like, hey, if you got a problem with somebody, work it out yourselves. Don't talk to us. We're busy trying to run a race. But overall, I mean, still, though, the huge expectation is you should never go metal to metal with anybody on track, and Rubbin is not racing and road course activities. Is that what do you think, Bill? I know I talked a long time.
Well, I mean, I knew there was going to be a soapbox involved, so I was prepared. I was thinking of it from like a pro racing versus amateur racing, and why, in my mind, rubbing has no part in amateur racing.
Well, I mean, none of us own a body shop.
No, and it's not fun.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it's generally pretty acrimonious. Like, there was a champ event, in the last 5-6 years where this little guy who runs around in a Miata, it looks like it's beat to crap, looks like a sack of walnuts. He hit our car, and then I said something to him about it. He's like, "Yeah, I hit." It's like, "Yeah, but no, you hit our car." He's like, he just blew it off, like I just like wanted to keep talking about some other stuff. I was like, I would like to keep talking about how your guy hit my guy in the car that I own.
Right?
So, yeah, it's a bummer. It's a bummer to hit people and have to talk about it, or maybe have to transact about it. It's a bad idea. And it's funny that you mentioned the difference between pro racing and amateur racing, because just recently in our big like our team group text, it's just always going on whether we have an event to talk about it or not. We're just always in there BSing about this and this, like, look at this car. But I forgot exactly how it came up. I think we were talking about how oh yeah, we were just kind of praising ourselves as a team because somebody else did something bad. We're like, well, look at us. We come out here, we do fairly well. Like, our team won a couple of races with the AER this summer when I wasn't there. So, like, we're a team that can do pretty well and have our stuff together. But also, we don't care. Like, we don't care whether we win or there's nothing on the line for us except having fun with our buddies and then hopefully having a good time with our cars on track if they stay on track. But also, we don't care. So we were just talking about how, hey, one of the things, one of the reasons we kind of self-selected this group is that we're a bunch of people who like to be pretty good at it when we're there, and we've got some chops, but also if it doesn't go our way and everything is perfect, we're also going to be mostly valuing the experience we had together. And then somebody said, yeah, counterpoint to that, though, is if you're a pro racer, you can't be all happy and carefree out there because you got a lot more concerns. This is your career. You're only as good as your last result. And, when you talk about pro racing from contact standpoint, in one case, you might be like, oh, well, that guy doesn't own that car, so he doesn't care if he beats it up. But also that pro racer also might care more if he hits a car and makes a mistake than an amateur racer because he's trying to hold her career together. And he wants, it's the last 3 seasons of the race, and he did a DNF the last. You know what I mean? Like, he's got 30 things on his mind that I don't have on my mind, when I'm trying to judge whether or not I should make this move on this guy in this corner. There's a lot more at stake for somebody who's a pro racer. So it may not be as easy a consideration as saying, oh, well, pro racers hit everything because it's not their car. They'll just get a new one the next race. There is that side of it. There's also the side of it. This guy's just scared shitless to make any kind of mistake or step out of line. And he's just going to, go out there and put out what the car can safely put out. So, yeah, it's interesting to think about.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Bill?
Well, I was gonna give my beautiful bride some time because she looks like she's gonna explode if she doesn't get to say something. Miss Vicki.
Oh, sorry. I don't have no doubt.
She's here too, Ben.
I can only see Bill. I got it fixed now.
Yeah. As a person that actually fixes these things, rub racing is not cool. We don't have the budget to constantly fix
the time
cars
budget
like that. It's a time budget. Time, money. It's not necessary. There's good cars that go out there, nice cars that go out there, and what are you accomplishing?
I'm paying my mortgage in my HBDE.
You get a bump. Yeah, you get a bump, but nobody wants to go out there and keep running a crappy car. It takes work. So no rub racing. Don't touch my car.
I'm not going to start talking about bump drafting and how cool it is. So that's a whole separate topic. That's
a whole different topic. See, there's a difference.
It wasn't to you. It was the same thing up until about 2 weeks ago.
Right. Well, yeah. Well, I'm going to have a hard time with that. I am going to have a hard time with that.
She's going to get out of the car after the race and go, you touched my car. You touched my car.
I'm like, hit my back bumper as hard as you possibly can. I'm like, smack me.
But
just the back bumper.
Yeah, that's so those Miata spec racers, I guess they end up pretty beaten up, don't they?
It depends. The class used to be a lot dirtier than it is these days. A lot of them have hung around. It's like a lot of the top guys have hung around that class. I mean, almost for a couple decades at this point, and they're all pretty accomplished. I mean, it used to be called Spec Pinata or Crash Miata, but that. I don't think that reputation is genuinely earned as much these days. I mean, they're still cars that are all very very equal in performance, and they're all trying to be at the same spot all at the same time. So you're going to get some contact from that just naturally. But a lot of those guys are extremely good drivers, and a lot of times when I see a good spec Miata driver get to go race in another series, even all the way up to this guy Dan Partis, who still races spec Miata, we just see him racing like he raced the Dakota NASCAR, or what it's called, whatever Winston Cup is to now. He was racing top level of NASCAR and showing up pretty well. So these guys who have cut their teeth in spec Miata, a lot of them are very accomplished racers by now, but they used to have a pretty well deserved reputation in like the early mid 2000s.
So, my dear,
yes, sir.
What I'm taking it from your general tone. Not your favorite philosophy.
No, it's not.
Not Rubbin, huh?
No, well, no, I don't like it because we put a lot of work in our cars to get them out there, and then somebody's just going to be a jerk to get ahead and kind of hit you. I mean, I don't like repairing damage.
Hey, we all, and most of us have kids. Like when you rub on somebody, you're running the risk of putting them out in the woods or into the fence. I mean, having a crash that they might not recover from. Or the car.
Well, the other thing too, and it came from Mark Petronas. What are you really winning? Seriously, right. What trophy are you going home with? What monetary value of an award are you walking off that track with? Nothing.
Well, right, and I think you got to question people's. Let me get my ladder back on. I'm climbing right on top of the soapbox.
I knew we were going to get you up there.
Big.
Yeah, I mean, if somebody's thought process is, I need that spot. I can't earn. I've been trying to earn it on speed and talent for a couple laps, and I haven't gotten it. Gosh, I probably can't get that unless I hit this guy. I'm going to hit this guy. Does that person with that kind of thought process, should they be out there competing? I mean, it could be your first day at the racetrack in Lemons and Champ. So there's no chance to weed somebody out and make sure they have the intelligent, the right kind of decision-making process or just the right priorities. There are plenty of people out on the racetrack for the first few times who don't realize how serious it is. There's a lot to wrap your head around about the sport, and to put somebody out wheel to wheel racing, it could be their first day. You might be well served if you're somebody who regularly competes with a series where you could be a brand new beginner and out there running wheel to wheel. You might be pretty well served by giving everybody a little bit of extra room, say at a Lemons or a Champ race. Does that make sense to you guys?
Yes, it does. It does. And
what? I've always got an escape strategy. No matter what I'm trying, I'm always ready to bail with no consequence. You know what I mean? I'm not going to stick my neck out so far in one of those kind of races where if somebody does something crazy or unpredictable, I can't just go, whoop, I'm out of here. Like I'll do this in a minute. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because nothing's that serious. It doesn't matter. It's an endurance race. There's never a reason to hit anybody, even if it's not an endurance race. In my opinion, I have a high enough opinion of my own skill, and I look down on people who try to take a shortcut by doing something janky, braking too late and using the car that you run into as your extra set of brakes. Whatever janky thing you tried that ends up making you hit somebody, I look down on that because I take a dim view of anybody taking a shortcut, especially one that's dangerous to my wallet and my family and me. I get all kind of crappy about it. But also, I granted some of this is because I'm an egotistical weird bitch, but I mean, I'm like, I can do it. Why can't you? You don't need to hit me if you can't earn it on merit. Hang back and watch somebody do it better than you till you figure it out.
Well, the other thing too is that we like to go out and practice car empathy. Yeah. We practice car empathy. We have a lot of people on track. We have a lot now. The particular race that we go into, there's a lot of cars on track. There's a difference between accidental versus intentional. And when you're doing traffic management and you're dealing with cars and newbies and everything like that, that's one aspect of it, and that can be forgiven. And of course, after a while, that becomes a beater car. But there shouldn't be allowances for something like that in the upper level racings. Those are nicer cars. There's a lot more invested in those cars, and sometimes whatever you're tapping, you could like you said. Depending on what kind of position and what area you tap that person, you could send them off into a wall.
Right. Yeah, I got a good example of what you're talking about. It kind of ties in with where you hit somebody, also with the aspect of accidental versus intentional contact.
Right.
I'll tell you, one of the times I raced at Road Atlanta with Lemons, I was driving Blake Field's truck, which is pretty spry getting out of the corners at the V8 and everything. And I was coming out of turn 7, and of course, I've jammed it in there with 6 other people because I'm like, I'm not waiting for any of you guys to sort this out. I'm going to weave my way through so I can try to get down the back straight. So as I'm kind of coming out of the front of this scrum, coming out of turn 7, I get a little shot to one of the back fender on one side or the other. But it's like a glancing blow. It didn't do me any harm, didn't push me out of shape. But I was like, oh, who fired that shot? I just kept on going. I'm not worried about it. It didn't mess me up. Not the end of the world. I could tell it wasn't a big problem. And then after the race, I found I think I was just BSing with Donnie. I think he had his Lexus there, Donnie Petronak. Is that how you say his name? I was just BSing with brother Donnie, and he's like, sorry about that coming out of turn 7. I was like, oh, no big deal. When it's something that you eventually talk about or somebody comes out. So I was, we just talked about it. It was after the race. It was, over a beer or a bowl of chili or something. And it was just totally cool. It's like, hey, he goes, sorry about that. It was just a bunch of people. I didn't realize I was going to kind of glance into you. And I was like, hey, did it affect me or anything like that? No, we just kind of BS and laughed about it. So it's important to kind of understand, did that guy just hit me? Oh my God! A freak out, or oh man, somebody's kind of caught it. It was 10 of us across the backstretch. Somebody's going to browse off somebody. So it's keep your Rubbin his race in perspective. But also, if you can't earn the position and the only thing you think of to do is hit somebody, park it. Don't hit that person. Park it and think about your life. Go cleanse your soul in the waters of Lake Minnetonka.
You are not entering into pro level racing. I'm telling you.
Right, exactly. So, but just it's so weird. Those people, you can't reach them rationally. If somebody's making that kind of decision, they got bigger problems and they don't need to be out there endangering people on track. But anyway,
it doesn't matter. I could never tell you in any series right now, except for pro level, on who won that year.
It doesn't matter, right?
It doesn't matter. Really, you're going to go home and you're going to be forgotten. Seriously, you're going to have your 15 minutes and that's it. You're going to walk home with a trophy that's going to gather dust. You're going to put somebody else at risk for that? I mean, come on, guys.
It's not worth it. But, you can be a formidable, successful team.
Yes.
And not feel crazy all the time and not think about hitting people on track. You can be a fun-loving group of people who also happen to be good at this. There's plenty of us out there. So I guess I'll stand on my soapbox one more time and say, everybody take it easy and don't hit anybody. Jesus.
Just don't hit anybody. People don't like that.
I don't like it. Not a fan.
I think the big point for me is, try to figure out how to do it without hitting somebody.
Yes, earn it.
Yeah.
It's not a video game.
Yeah, if contact is involved, you did not earn it, and you're not doing a good job of driving or racing.
All right, soapbox deployed. Parachutes, jump on down, people. We're gonna do another one of these soon.
Yeah, man, I gotta calm down. I'm gonna go lay down. Has anybody got any lewds?
Okay. So I don't have anything for that one, Ben. I'm sorry.
Well, good news for everybody. Apparently, they don't make lewds anymore. So even if I wanted to find one to relax, I'm pretty sure you can't get Quaaludes. But anyway, that's okay.
I don't know. Who knew?
I'll try to do some deep breathing and then get down off of this soapbox. Man, I do not like contact. It's big no for me, dog.
Ben got a little lightheaded with all the lack of oxygen up on that big old soapbox.
Whew. Yeah, it was way up there.
Rubbin's not racing. Anyway, thanks everybody.
Thanks.
Captain's log supplemental.
So Miss Vicki,
Yes, sir.
Do you remember when we were watching those WRL events and some of those grid life events where you used to see the in-car video and it had like the cameras seeing front and back, but it also could see all the telemetry and everything that was going on? You know, most of the ones that we liked were taken by the Sentinel system. Remember James came on our podcast earlier?
Right.
You know, we have no excuse since he lent us one for trial and demonstration purposes. We should actually probably put that in one of our cars. Maybe two.
I really think we should.
I think we should.
I know.
Because then we'd look like the immature endurance racing team that we are. Oh, wait, I mispronounced that, didn't I? Sorry, my bad. We could
so what does the Sentinel system do?
We could have 3 cameras with picture-in-picture. We could have, if we ever get the AIM system to work, open invitation to anybody from AIM to come on and give us a little bit of love. We need some help. And then we could have all our telemetry on there. And then we can have it streamed live into the paddock or around the world to our millions of fans. We're apparently very popular in Kenya right now. Don't know why, but that's fine. And it can integrate all the available race statistics from like Race Hero and everything. So we could actually see how we're doing on video. We wouldn't even have to carry around our phone anymore. Live.
I love it.